If your job at a healthcare facility includes disinfecting against viruses, you know prevention is the best medicine. And maintaining healthy spaces starts with a healthy cleaning routine. Grainger's world-class supply chain helps ensure you have the quality products you need when you need them. From disinfectants and cleaning supplies to personal protective equipment, so you can help deliver a clean bill of health. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Off and running on a Monday. Action-packed 3-hour program coming up after an awesome weekend in sports. On today's program, Nick Alberga is going to join us coming up in 30 minutes. He is right in the thick of things in Maple Leafs country. We'll talk about that series in the NHL playoffs. Legendary sports writer Bob Ryan on the Celtics and the Knicks, and professional sports bettor Paul Bovey a little bit later on in the program. We'll get into a plethora of props coming up in about 90 minutes. Of course, today, heavy Major League Baseball, the NHL playoffs, and the NBA playoffs. And now after last night's results, Pauly, where the Warriors went to Houston and they won Game 7, and the two things here, right? Rockets were absolutely atrocious pretty much the entire game offensively, and Buddy Hield had the game of his life. The Warriors did play good defense. They absolutely have to get credit for that. But now they move on to take on a really young and to me likable T-Wolves team, but they're also cocky and they're not afraid to, they're not going to back down to anybody. The numbers here on the series and Game 1, they continue to climb. Here, circa most other books, now Wolves up to 7 for Game 1. Bad spot for the Warriors because they have to go back and play now tomorrow night on the road. And the series price I saw opened up, the lowest number I saw was about $1.42 on Golden State, or on Minnesota, I should say. The Wolves are now like $1.80.
Buddy Hield 70-1 last night to lead in points. Incredible performance. All-timer.
What was he to score 30 points?
That's another good call. Who knows? That's nuts. And the Van Vliet props got their last 3 games too. So aggressive Freddie. But Houston needs to add a score in the offseason. That'll be interesting. You're talking about horrible spots, though. You're right. And what happened when Memphis had to go to OKC in Game 1 and they won by 50. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that's going to happen tonight, but you're off a grueling, physical, long 7-game series, and you got to come right back and the other team's rested. So that's juiced in. That's the tax, and it's rare you see Golden State catching this many points. Certainly it's also rare, I guess, to see Joker catching this many points as well. Something to monitor and keep an eye on, though, could be technicals and how these teams don't like each other. Ant likes to talk. Green's a lunatic, whether he's getting flagrants or technicals, and plus his history with Gobert. Maybe Gobert can bait him and get him into something here, and Draymond loses his mind, which has happened before.
Right. Now, I called this in the middle of the Houston-Golden State series, that if, in fact, the Warriors were to hang on and win, and this is when the T-Wolves, I think, had the Lakers down 2-1, I said if we get Wolves and Warriors second round, we're going to either get a suspension or at least one player will get kicked out of the game. I wish we could bet on that because I think that's going to happen. Hell, it happened against the Rockets, right? Because there was a suspension, there was an ejection, and multiple flagrant fouls as well, and several technicals on top of that. So I think that's probably going to be the way it's going to go. And also, there's this: it's the first time that the Warriors have been an underdog in a playoff series in more than 10 years. The last time, Round 1, 2014, when they lost to the Clippers in 7 games. And that was when the Sterling tapes came out.
Okay.
That was right in the middle of that series. Yeah.
Excellent. Mm-hmm. Excellent. Yep. I like Curry to have the most threes in the series. That's widely available with all the props that they offer. And we'll see what Ant-Man is able to do as well. But, it's also Minnesota misery, too. Just when you think everything's going well and you have home court and it's going your way, look what happened last year against Dallas. So maybe it's too high with the $1.70. I asked a odds maker what he makes the conference finals. OKC would be $5 over Golden State and $3.50 over Minnesota.
All right, well, then that tells me let's just bet OKC futures to win the West right now. That's the play. I don't think they're not going to struggle to me against Denver. That's a 5-game series, I think.
Okay, I hope you're right. They shouldn't.
Based on, and we saw this absolutely factor in last night, right? And you might scoff at this, but I would go to war with anybody that the difference in last night's game was the youth on Houston's side and the experience with Golden State. Mm-hmm. Why else did Houston play that crappy of a game? Now, again, the Warriors were really good defensively, but Houston had like 2 guys play well last night in the game. Maybe 3. That was pretty much it. And Jalen Green talked about it. He knew it after the game. He told the media, I played like, I can't even say the word on the air. I played like crap. And I got to clean that up. And he was terrible. He said outside of the one game, he was awful. And he was.
Yeah.
So
it was embarrassing offensively, but the comeback is, I mean, if you don't get that performance from Buddy, then what happens? Then we're talking about 1990 NBA here, what that score could be.
Oh, the game would have been in the 60s maybe. Is there any concern from your end that Golden State won the season series 3-1, and they played all 4 games before Jimmy Butler was on the Dubs?
No, there was so much going on with Minnesota. Remember, it took a long time to mesh.
Yeah, they were not great.
The chemistry, and they had guys out. Yeah, so it's also how many guys can Kurt trust at this moment? Who can he look to on the bench and say, go in and do something? I discount what Moody did because it was in a blowout when he went off in Game 5. These other guys, I mean, he hardly plays Kuminga anymore. And you're not going to get that out of Buddy again as well, too. So if you got the revenge angle with Butler after what happened in Minnesota. But it goes back to how many guys can he play and how many guys he can trust. I love Minnesota's depth. I don't think Golden State has any depth here.
They don't.
And that's a big storyline in the other one. Like OKC is the deepest team. Denver has nothing.
Oh, absolutely
so
not.
That's another key edge here, too, with the bench. And Kerr might just have to say, I got to ride with 6 guys here. That's it. And maybe mix in a little Looney.
But do you think also what I said about last night's Game 7 has anything to do with this series? Or do you say Minnesota got to the Western Conference Finals last year, so the experience will not, or the lack of experience will not kill them here?
No, I think they're fine. No, I just think it's more of a history of the organization in the state, which people might discount. But being from there, I've seen it for over 40 years.
Yeah.
But that's also Minnesota should win this series. They're the better team. And I will tell you this. How about the all-time what-if scenario? What if it was Golden State who won that game in overtime on the final day of the regular season and not the Clippers? Can you imagine how it would have flipped everything? Who knows what it would have looked like then? Because then Denver would have played Minnesota, the Lakers would have played the Warriors, and the Clippers likely would have played the Rockets. And the Clippers would have been the 7th seed, and they would have been in the play-in. One game, final day of the season, that went to overtime.
That changed all that, huh?
Who knows what would have happened, but certainly would have flipped everything if you had a different outcome.
Yeah, no question about that.
Are you concerned about OKC's lack of big game experience as opposed to Denver? And also it could be, whether it's Westbrook or somebody else, we're going to leave you wide open, you're going to have to beat us, and that's what P.J. Washington did last year.
No, but I am maybe a little bit concerned about the rust here in Game 1 tonight because their starters have played like 4 games going back more than a month combined. So It really hasn't meant much to them down the stretch other than the playoff games against Memphis. So that might be a little bit of a concern. By the way, Ant-Man against Golden State this year did average 26 points, 6 rebounds, and 5.5 assists, and he hit 4 threes, at least 4 threes in every single game. So there was that. Curry was awesome. He hit 30-plus in 3 of the 4 games, had 23 in the other. He went 22 of 48 from downtown. So will he take that many? Will he take 12 threes a game in the series? That's an awfully high number. Would you be interested in let me ask you this. More intrigued by Warriors, like plus a game and a half in the series, or by Denver plus 2.5 games against the Thunder? Or would you just pass on both and just say you like both favorites here?
Yeah, I guess if I had to pick one, I would take Golden State plus the 1.5. We have to be setting some kind of a record here. 9-point spread, 10.5-point spread, 9-point spread, 7-point spread.
I know.
We're in the second round here.
Yeah.
This isn't supposed to happen.
No,
and look at the series prices. Before the upset, you had Cleveland as high as $6. You have the Celtics $8. You have OKC $7-8, and you have the Timberwolves who are almost 170, 180 in that range.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, but I got to say this: their opponents are pretty damn good, right? I mean, at least we know Denver's lack of depth is going to be a major issue here against OKC. However, they have the best player in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So they have that going for them. The Knicks offensively have been awesome the entire year. Just a terrible matchup against Boston.
Right.
And in the other one, it's the Golden State Warriors and Steph Curry.
Yep.
But so I think the matchups overall are pretty decent. Like I think maybe the Cavaliers come back and win this thing in like 5 or 6 games. I doubt 5, but maybe they win it in 6. I don't think it's going to be an easy series for them whatsoever. We said that going into it.
I don't want to overreact, but certainly one team hit 53% from 3, and the other team hit 23%. So Indiana won't do that again, and Mitchell won't do that again, although Cleveland's got to get healthy. I can't believe Garland's missed 3 straight playoff games with a toe injury. In any event, though, I think you can point to this, and the same thing with the second round of the NHL playoffs. that there's a lot of good teams getting disrespected with what they opened at with the series prices. And I think you're right. Indiana is a good team. They had a top 10 defense since January, and they had the 4th best record. And Cleveland was too high. And I'm with you. I don't care if they win or 5 or 6. The price was too high. And we already have a series there, and that's too much respect. And you're right, even with Denver. The thing is, you have a team that was 21st in defense against the number 1 defense and maybe the best we've ever seen, and the number 1 point differential we've ever seen.
Right, and by the way, they have multiple guys that can match up or try to let go against Joker, too.
That's true.
They got Chet, who is, without question, elite defensively, and Hartenstein's also very good.
But Joker also torched him in one game. He had an all-time performance.
Oh, yeah,
They dropped 140 on him on the road.
Yeah. He did have 2 triple-doubles against him this year, but that's who he is and what he does.
Yes.
I also think this could be the Jason Tatum points prop for tonight is 27.5 against the Knicks, who he absolutely obliterated this year.
Yes, he
did. He's coming off of 3 30-plus point games against the Magic and that defense and that pace. And he could be out like on the revenge tour because, again, they won the title last year. However, he did not win the Eastern Conference Finals MVP. He did not win the NBA Finals MVP. He played like he wanted it because he was out of his mind for half those games with the hero ball. But I think that he's been so good lately. I had to play over 27.5 tonight.
I'm with him. I like that as well, and also most threes in the series too. They average 130 points per 100 possessions in the 4 matchups against New York.
Yeah,
most they allowed.
What do you think of that total?
It's hard though because you look at it, playoff basketball, but Boston's 29th in pace and the Knicks are 26th. Can the Knicks slow them down at all from 3? Orlando did a good job, but you're talking about a team that averaged 48 threes a game.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're going in, I'll say give me the over. But it's also what it figures to be a slow pace, and maybe it doesn't get there. But that's a weird series from the total standpoint, I think.
This will be. I think they're going to take that many threes in this series. Orlando does a great job of slowing down how many threes they take. I don't think the Knicks will, but then it comes down to...
I see that, yes.
Yeah, I'll tell you why the Capitals and Golden Knights must have hated the Game 7 result from last night. Next.
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high-quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
I think here's a reason why both the Washington Capitals and the Vegas Golden Knights were a little perturbed at what happened last night by the Jets coming back and improbably beating the Blues at home. Regular season points, Jets, of course, the President's Trophy winner with 116. Capitals 111, VGK 110. VGK would have had home ice throughout the rest of the playoffs until they met Washington, if they get there. Mm-hmm. If Washington lost in the Eastern Conference, then VGK had home ice throughout the entire thing. And for the Jets to come back like that at home, I didn't even see a price. I think they took, from like 2 books that I looked at, it was off the board.
Yep. I never even entertained a thought at locking in a profit and to think the Jets would come back and win anyways, because I had Blues to win the series and the Blues in Game 7. I'm like, why? There's no way Winnipeg's going to come back. And with about 8 minutes left, I saw minus 6,000 on St. Louis to win the game. And then they scored to make it 3-2, no big deal. Then you thought they tied it with a minute left. Yeah. How did that puck not go in? And maybe it did go in, but you just couldn't see because Bennington's got it covered up, and then you can't see where the puck is in the goal line. And then with 2 seconds left, they tie it. And if you had, we just talked to someone who had both Game 7s under. Vicious how you lose both of those. Not to mention Blues in 7, which was 9-1, and everyone who had Blues future tickets. That's incredible.
Who I definitely know. And by the way, this person told me to get on the Blues, and I did not listen to him. This is when the Blues were higher. Think about this for a second. He told me to get on the Blues to win the West and the Stanley Cup when the St. Louis Blues were higher than 10-1 just to make the playoffs. It was at the very beginning when they started the show Signs of Life. This was 2019, shades of that year all over again, when they were available at, 400 to win the Cup. He had monster numbers on them. Now, he did walk away by hedging a little bit on the Jets before the series started because he had so much wiggle room to play with here. But that's an all-time kick to the breadbasket loss.
They were dangerous. I mean, 15 in a row at home, too, and what they just did.
They would have had a great chance against the Stars.
Absolutely, yes. I mean, a week ago, everyone was telling me how bad this team is. Now Dallas is $1.60?
I think I got to go contrarian here. It sounds dumb to say that because it's the President's Trophy winning team that we're talking about with home ice.
Right.
And yet, I haven't heard one person make the case for the Jets yet. And it's the reason why is because you were the all-state guy, what were you? All what? I don't want to screw this up. All-region high school hockey goalie? What was it?
All-area, all-conference.
All-area, okay.
Yeah.
Can I ask you this? I had to text you when they showed the graphic last night. How the hell does the guy who's the runaway winner of the Vezina this year, and people were making the case for him to win the Hart, how does he allow 13 goals, high glove side to one team? How is that a weakness?
There's a great article up on NHL.com about how Aiden Hill and some of these goalies, if you can believe it, are weak glove side and high glove side. That was my strong point. I would cheat. I was begging people to shoot glove side because I had the quickest glove in the state. I was unbelievable on the glove side. But a lot of these guys, no surprise that low stick side gives them a ton of problems. But because going back, I can think of a couple guys, Hill, Matt Murray, and Crawford, who actually won a cup with Chicago, but they were weak glove side. And what they did to Hellebuck and what happened to Hill in a couple games, I am surprised. But the thing is, you have to relish this and now love the fact that, futures aside, we get to bet against Hellebuck again, who it's just a disaster. So I understand where you're coming from with, as Jeff Davis said, who works here at Circa, Winnipeg, if they win, will still be penalized. They're penalized too much, though.
Oh, yeah.
This is the best team in the league with home ice. They're playing with house money. They're going home. It's 3-1 with less than 2 minutes. They win the game and they have home ice. And I know you got Robertson and Heiskanen coming back. Mm-hmm. But Dallas loses game 1 6-1. Colorado is like a $3.50 adjusted series price. There was a 60-cent move on Colorado. Dallas had lost 8 in a row, and now they're $1.60.
People were cutting in line to bet the Avalanche in those games throughout the series, telling us that they were absolutely the right side to win the series all along, and that the price was too low because their power rating is so high and they have so much more talent. And now we're going to come back and buy into what the Stars just did? To your point?
Hmm?
How does that make any sense?
Yeah.
I think this number is wild, man. I really do.
Can Hellebuck find his game? Can we get regular season Hellebuck? 6 of the 7 games in the St. Louis series went over. St. Louis team total went over 6 of the 7. The first period went over 6 of the 7. Last year against Colorado, he gave up 5-4, 5-4, and 6. Against VGK, the previous year, he gave up 4-3, 5-5, and 1. We know how bad he's been on the road, and you can at least put 4 past him, it figures, in every road game, and he was chased in all 3 road games in St. Louis.
Is it possible that what happened last night to the Jets and Hellebuck could be similar to when the Kings gave that little bit of life to the Edmonton Oilers, and then, here they are, they come back and win the series? And now, as we've said all last week, did they wake up a sleeping giant? Maybe. And maybe the same thing might be true here for what happened last night.
Well, no one expects anything now. You were dead. It's over. Of
course.
You're Nikki Sixx and Motley Crue. You're dead. They got the fan in the ambulance has to bring you back after the heroin overdose. Yeah. Now, don't go back home and do more heroin. Get your act together, unlike Nikki Sixx, and that's what Winnipeg has to do now.
Yeah, maybe get a different kind of IV where you get hydrated and feel a little bit better, I guess.
Got to have Scheifele, though, too.
You're exactly right with that. I don't know, maybe if this number keeps going up, you just wait, and then this is nuts town that we're talking about here, and you got to take the Jets at a higher number even than that. I think, is the same true here for the Maple Leafs?
Interesting. I think this is all about history playing into this price, too, which, again, they're throwing out the regular season. Now, Florida went 3-1 against them in the regular season. The difference was the power play, and Toronto's power play let them down at the back end of the Ottawa series. But they haven't made it past the second round since 2002. And this is only the third time since 2002 they made it to the second round. And we know they took them out in 5 games a couple of years ago. But you have the team that won the second most games in the league and had the most road wins for the season has home ice, and they're plus 150.
Seems awfully high to me.
I know.
I think that...
And I like their defense. I love their coach, and I like the goaltending.
So we have a guest coming up in about 10 minutes, Nick Alberga, who has been living and breathing with the Maple Leafs for many, many years. I got to ask him, because the entire region, right, that team, the organization, the fans, the whole city, whatever, they know it. That's all they ever talk about. Like, here we go again. Squeaky bum time. They're going to somehow kill us one more time, and the dream's going to be dead. Mm-hmm. I honestly, how much should that really factor into this year's team? How much? When they were playing at home late against the series with Ottawa, and you could hear a pin drop, and the fans were already, 5 minutes in? We had that great email from a person who was there. They were scared to death already 5 minutes into the game. And it was totally lifeless in the arena. And
then booed them off the ice after they lost. It's a tough, I think more so we would know that if it was if they were playing Carolina. Like if Carolina was a good size favorite, then you would say, okay, history's factored into this as well. Well, Florida's been to the final the last 2 years, and they're defending champs. So playoff pedigree, plus they just humiliated a good Tampa team as well.
Very true.
Bob is vulnerable in the 5-hole. See if they can take advantage of that, where they can get him. But that's you could also say the same thing about Washington, who Thompson was phenomenal in the first round, a .923 save percentage. He was great in the regular season, and they have home ice. They had a great regular season. And look at this price. Anderson back at practice, figures to go, but be okay. But that's another one where it's...
How high is that number?
Oh, surprise, right.
$1.60 now for the Hurricanes?
Yeah.
Man, that's...
Carolina's good, but you have to question the goaltending. Still have to do it. And I like Thompson, and he was great. So...
You can grab the Capitals plus 1.5 games minus 135. They have home ice. 111 points in the regular season. You can grab the Maple Leafs plus 1.5 games minus 130.
Well, I'm rooting for them. I'd like to see it, and I don't... While I respect them, I don't think a lot of people want to see Florida against Carolina for the right to go to the Cup.
Probably not.
Yep, right. And then the one out here tomorrow that gets started it could be nuts with Edmonton. And Edmonton, outside of Nevada, is favored to win the series. 2-2, they split. Vegas in 6 2 years ago. So the change to Picard was great. Not that he was Grant Fuhr or anything, but certainly a big difference from Skinner, who was a total sieve. But I'd love the first period over in these games until I lose. And every Vegas-Minnesota game went over in the first period, and we just saw what Edmonton did, how high-scoring those games were. But 4 comebacks in the last 4 games.
Yeah. 3 contrarian angles I'm pondering. Jets minus 1.5 games plus 235.
Wow.
Golden Knights minus 1.5 games plus $2. And the Leafs minus 1.5 games plus 250. Haven't made them. Total. I think those are contrarian plays. But
these are tough series.
All 3 teams I just talked about, they have home ice.
Yep. And I was not impressed with the Knights in the first round. But you're right. Isn't that something? Everyone has home ice as a dog. Smarter bets start here and last all year long with VSiN Pro for a limited time. We're slashing the price of our annual subscription. Normally $240, now just $199. And when you sign up today, we'll throw in 2 extra months for free. 14 months of VSiN Pro access. Less than 50 cents a day. Code PRO. Code PRO, less than 50 cents a day. 14 months, every best bet, every host, every guest. VSiN.com/subscribe. The video, the betting splits, and the trends from Mackinnon.
Nick Alberga up next, right in the middle of all this with the Maple Leafs. How much does past failure for Toronto factor into the series?
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Welcome in. We're live downtown Las Vegas, Circa Resort Casino. What a time of year. Round 2 numbers are out now for the NBA and the NHL playoffs, which we'll concentrate on here as we head out to the Progressive guest line. Nick Alberga joins the program now, host and director of Leafs Morning Take, LeafsNation.com. Follow him on X as well. He's at the Golden Muzzy. Nick, thanks for the time today. How are you?
Guys, my pleasure. I'm jacked up. Round 2 of the Stanley Cup playoffs tonight. What's up with you guys?
Yeah, can't wait as well. It's as good as it gets, obviously. We saw it last night again with the ending of that game, the Game 7 on Saturday night. It's just so good. It's special every single year. Let's begin with this. So the Leafs won their division, 108 points in the regular season, most road wins in the Eastern Conference. They have home ice here against Florida. I get it. They made it to the Cup the last 2 years. They're defending champs. But they're also laying $1.70, the Panthers are in this series. So you are right in the middle of all this. You've been covering this team forever. How much do you think recent failure in the playoffs has to do with this?
Honestly, not much. I just think you look at the Florida Panthers, and I think they put themselves in cruise control post-trade deadline when they picked up Brad Marchand. Matthew Tkachuk was out post-Four Nations. They're just a really, really good team, and it just shows you, I think part of the reason that price is the way it is because I think a lot of people have jumped in the Florida Panthers, and it happens a lot in pro sports where you just bet on a team so often, there's no more value. And weirdly enough, the Leafs, who are always the favorite, it seems like in every game, every series, are the underdog, and I think they should relish that role. But make no mistake about it, the Leafs are the dog in this series. Would I price it this way? Probably not. I think it's closer than maybe the market suspects right now, but the Panthers definitively the better team. They steamrolled the Tampa Bay Lightning, who a lot of people picked to win the Stanley Cup. They got depth. They got depth up the middle. They got goaltending. The blue line's really, really good. So, yeah, it's going to be a tough series, but never say never, right?
Do people turn on them and just say, well, great job. You won in Ottawa. Finally, we get back to the second round here. Do the fans and media turn on them if they lose game one?
Likely, yeah.
Okay.
7 hours from now, we'll be discussing that very same thing because I think there's going to be a humbling situation at some point in time, a humbling moment, if you will, where I think people clue in that they're playing the defending Stanley Cup champions. I don't know if it's tonight. I don't know if it's in game two, but I will tell you they better be prepared for this game because the Florida Panthers are so well coached. They're really, really strong on the road. If you recall in round one, they win the first two games at Amalie Arena. It's like home ice does not matter. Positioning in the standings, as we've seen this year, does not matter to this team. But certainly I think the hope will start to fade. I think of the four respective series, game one matters the most to the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think they have a bit of a point to prove that they can stick with the Florida Panthers tonight, guys.
Yeah, game one obviously huge. What about the first goal tonight, too? I would think that is absolutely massive. We were talking about this in the break, like last night. It's so deflating when a team allows a goal 1 minute into the game. I mean, if that happens, forget about it for the Leafs, right? But I think if they score first tonight, that place is on fire and the players are feeling really, really good about themselves, that could be huge.
Yeah, that's a great, great point because I think that's the biggest difference I've noticed with this team, even in the playoffs under Craig Berube. When they play with the lead, they don't cough it up. If you recall previous iterations of this Maple Leafs team would get involved in wild, wacky, chaotic 7-6 hockey games, specifically in the regular season. But it's been a different tune. In fact, I think they've lost 3 times or 5 times in total, including 3 times in regulation when they hold the lead after 40. So the big numbers I would look at from the Maple Leafs perspective, can they get to 3 goals? The numbers are overwhelmingly in favor of the Maple Leafs when they score 3 goals this season in a game. And do they lead after 2? I talked about the numbers. They don't lose that lead very often, which is, again, weird to say. But I agree. I think just setting the tempo and tone for a series like this one where you know it's going to be difficult, there's going to be some tough moments, it's imperative for success for the Maple Leafs tonight.
It's always a hot ticket, an expensive ticket, and everyone loves hockey in Canada. Do most people just think it's embarrassing and there's just no way that they haven't won a cup since 67 and they haven't been past the second round since 2002, that it's completely and utterly ridiculous?
Yeah, it makes no sense. And honestly, I'm so lucky and fortunate with the job and gig I have to have a press pass because I just can't, nobody can afford it. That's the insanity of this whole thing. And that's why I think, honestly, you'll see a lot of Leafs Nation travel to Fort Lauderdale and Sunrise, obviously, for game 3, 4, and maybe 6 of this series. But yeah, it really is astounding. And honestly, I think it takes away because the wrong type of people, not the super fans, are going to the games. And I've been blunt in saying, even though they're my favorite team, they're the team I cover, the home crowd isn't great. So I don't think it's going to be much of a story in this series, quite frankly.
All right. Which players do you want to go to war with tonight? We were talking about this as well with you during the break. This is all narrative here, but it's kind of fun to think about. Marner for the Leafs, right? It's his birthday. Just had a baby as well. So what are we doing here? Do we trust this whole birthday angle?
I'm always careful, guys, and I'll preface by saying I backed Willie Nylander last week in Game 6, his 29th birthday, and he got 2 goals and 1 assist. Having said that, I did play it. I played Marner over 1.5 points tonight. I played the anytime goal for Marner. You just talked about it. I think if there's an angle to look at here in Game 1, it's probably that. Traditionally, he does come out with some pretty decent Game 1s. Like, that's usually a spot I bet on Mitch Marner. I believe he scored in Game 1 of the first round series as well against the Ottawa Senators. Certainly something to look at. But I would just add that the Florida Panthers, and you guys will see tonight more likely than not, they just swelter these guys. They have no time and space, and I'm talking about the big boys on the Maple Leafs, and they just keep them to the outside. In the past, it's been very, very perimeter. So that's a big key for the Maple Leafs. Can they get to the center of the ice? Can they get to the dirty areas? Much similar to how the Florida Panthers score goals. I think the Maple Leafs are going to try to do the same thing. But yeah, it's probably the angle I will be playing tonight is Mitch Marner, probably running on fumes right now, which is probably a good thing. No time to think about this series.
Where are you at with special teams, which was a big reason why Florida had success in the Tampa series and also in the regular season against Toronto?
Massive. Discipline was a story in the first round for both sides. I think from the Maple Leafs perspective, this is something that's haunted them, the guys in the Stanley Cup playoffs. But it's been a different tune this year. 6 for 18 in round 1 against the Ottawa Senators. I think it's no secret the Florida Panthers are some of the biggest pests in the league. They're going to try to get under their skin, especially now with Brad Marchand on that roster. So I think the Maple Leafs have to take advantage when they get power plays. And you could say that for every series of Florida. Same type of conversation. There's a bunch of guys in the Maple Leafs that always end up in the box. So there's key ingredients to winning a series. I think discipline will be a big thing, especially when you look at these two squads, guys. They love to be physical, Florida and Toronto.
Let's follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. Nick Alberga, our guest at the Golden Muzzy on X, host and director of Leafs Morning Take, LeafsNation.com. So overall, again, the series price with the Panthers about $1.70 here, Maple Leafs plus 150 in that neighborhood. Is there a way that you want to approach it? Would you consider the Maple Leafs plus a game and a half at around minus 130? Or you made a great case here and you stated it quite well about how good this Florida Panthers team is.
Yeah, and honestly, I think it's a really good role for the Leafs. I can't go as far as to say they're going to win this series. A lot needs to go right. I just wonder about getting through to these guys. Then you have Sergei Bobrovsky, but never say never. I mean, we've seen so many things happen in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Look at those 2 crazy Game 7s. The Maple Leafs are going to have to play really, really well, but they've been working towards this pinnacle all season long. So yeah, I actually think just picking the Leafs outright to win the series is really, really good value. Last I checked, around plus 150. I mean, the number is going to change as we get closer, maybe to puck drop, but maybe it's even an angle if the Leafs go down 1-0 in this series, that they mount a comeback. I think there's different spots you can pick, but I would definitely not price the Leafs as the way they're priced right now. I think there's actually really good value in them. There's also really good value in the Washington Capitals, as you guys see, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you about that. I mean, here we are in the second round, right? All these home teams are dogs.
I know it's really weird. The Vegas series gets me, and I should preface, I'm the only idiot who took Edmonton to win the Stanley Cup, and I was sweating it the first couple games. Then McDavid and Draisaitl did their thing. I still don't trust their crease, but I think you look at Washington, they're still getting no love. The way they disposed of a red-hot Montreal Canadiens team in 5 games in round 1. Carolina's a good team, but I think the biggest key in this series will be the crease. And I hate to say it, but Freddie Anderson, that guy's allergic to playoff hockey. You just never know what you're going to get from Kochetkov. And Logan Thompson, you guys want a deep play for Conn Smythe winner? How about Thompson? I mean, he's a guy who I think was sniffing around in the Vezina conversation for the majority of the season. Yeah. Round 1, 2.23, 9.23. So I think it's really, really good value in the Washington Capitals in that series against Carolina here.
I love that angle. We have 45 seconds left here. And I said this in the previous segment. Sounds dumb to say. I want to go contrarian with the Jets. They have home ice, President's Trophy winner, and they're a huge dog at home, in my opinion, and nobody's going to pick them.
Yeah. Exactly, and this is irony because in round 1, nobody picked the Dallas Stars, and they're missing Heiskanen, they're missing Jason Robertson, and now you look at the Winnipeg Jets, Morrissey's banged up, Scheifele's banged up. I was torn. Of the 4 series to handicap, the most difficult for me, I think something you could look at for sure. If you believe Winnipeg is now a team of destiny, considering what happened here in Game 7, can I interest you in Connor Hellebuyck figuring this thing out in the Stanley Cup playoffs? And maybe you take a look at a Connor Hellebuyck Conn Smythe look, because I think we know the magic formula is goaltending. So I would look at that. Mikko Rantanen, I love the revenge angle last series against Colorado. Maybe he's a look to win the Hart Trophy, in conversation with the Conn Smythe too, more so the Conn Smythe. So there's different routes you could take with that respective series, and we'll see what happens here, guys.
Hey, Nick, that was a great spot. Enjoy the game tonight.
My pleasure, guys. Take care.
There you go. Be good.
Thank
there
you.
You go. Nick Alberga on the Progressive Guest Line.
I'm seeing Hellebuyck Thompson a DK 40-1.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
Not bad.
Win-lose up next. Books had to get destroyed on Friday. Pauly will tell you why coming up next.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Were you a winner last night?
Wow, winning.
Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser! Pauly Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
Stars in 7 plus 550. Nick's right. This team got buried in game one. They were on an 8-game losing streak. Two best players, arguably, well, two of their better players out. And they come back and beat Colorado. DeBoer is now 9-0 in game sevens.
Huh.
How crazy is that? And they were a nice plus price, too. 2-0 in the third. And they win in regulation, and they cover the puck line, too. Reverse puck line.
There was also, and you might have more on this coming up a little bit later on, but we have a 30-40 cent move on that game?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep, you did. And the series price, too. Yep. First goal, Manson, 70-1. And it was shorthanded. Jetson 7 plus 550. I saw 30-1 with a couple minutes left, and then a listener grabbed the Jets 17-1, down 3-2 with a minute left.
Yeah, he said they put it back on the board. So it was not even on the board when he was paying attention when it was 3-1 late. But that's the thing, right? For people holding these big tickets, like you had a bet on the Blues to win the series, why would you want to give any way money at that point? You know?
I thought there was no way.
You're such a heavy favorite that more times than not, you're just going to give money away by coming back and hedging.
Yep. I thought there was no way they were coming back. And again, you give up the goal a minute into the game. Incredible. Clippers, Denver over 204.5 up to 208.5. No problem. Pacers, Cavs. Nebhart, most threes, 35-1. Well, they were 53% in the game. And Turner, most rebounds, 12-1. Pacers, money line, 3-1. Rockets, Warriors, game 7 last night. Here he is, Buddy. 70-1. At Will Hill and Caesars, most points, most threes, 13-1. 22 at halftime. Finished with 33.
And think about this.
What a performance.
As putrid as the Rockets were for the entire game on offense, the Warriors probably don't win that game if it's not for Buddy Hield.
Yeah, absolutely. And give Kirk credit for sticking with him. And he's been a journeyman, bouncing around from team to team, and was terrible in that stint he had in Philly. Bradford City promoted with a goal in extra time, and then just madness on the pitch. They scored. Now, they have to win. They score in like the 96th minute, and then the fans ran on the pitch. They had like 19 minutes of added time.
Yeah.
They actually had to have because they had to get the hell out of here. We got to finish the match here. And then
it was absolute chaos.
The madhouse as they are promoted. Premier League, Bournemouth plus 420. Everton draw plus 330. Championship League, QPR 5-1. Good call, Nigel. Leicester City, Vardy to score plus 180. First goal of the match, plus 450. Very good. UFC, Sanhagen by knockout, 5-1. Round 2, 11-1. D. Ritter with a huge upset over Bo Nickel. He was 15-1 by knockout. Round 2, 17-1. Lee, sub 8-1. Round 2, 11-1. Robertson, knockout, 12-1. Round 2, 8-1. Rodriguez to win in round 1, 7-1. Good job by Samich. And the horse racing guys, they have the Superfecta with the Derby. And MLB favorites on Friday went 14-1.
Yeah.
Remember, we had the 10-1 with the dogs. Now the favorites go 14-1 on Friday.
Well, how did books not get crushed?
Oh, that's bad.
With the parlays that had to come in.
And look at the run lines either.
Oh, and Macero also had the Superfecta.
That's right. He had it too. Subscribe, be part of the team. vsin.com. Our radio and podcast friends. You always want to see these tweets and videos. At Pauly Does Vegas on Instagram. Send them in. We'll put you on. So the horn is going off in the parking lot, and it's loud. And it's going off for minutes. And like, what's going on here? And it's the bulldog who's laying on the horn. It's time to go. He's had enough, right? Look, the owner's taking a video of it about what is going on. What's that noise? And her dog said, "Can you move it? I got places to be." And look at him. He's laying on the horn, saying, "Time to go. I want to get out of here." He says he's stuck in the car, and he's just laying on the horn for a couple minutes, and she comes down finally. What is?
He's the perfect balance.
Yep.
And he will not get off the horn.
No, and the look on the face, too. And, right, I thought of this, too. We've played this before, but after watching this video, I thought of this. they're at the park, where the car is parked at the park, and the bulldog's getting romantic with the steering wheel. And the guy comes up, he goes, "What are you doing?" And look at his face, just hangs his head in shame. I'm like, okay, you caught me, right? He's getting romantic with the steering wheel, but the horn keeps going off. So it's, and the look on everyone's face, the owner's like, "What are you doing?" Yeah, sorry about that. I thought it was a good time. I thought I was alone. Lose some. I got to put that up later.
Nobody would have known if he didn't hit that horn.
Horse bettors on Derby Day. So was hanging out with Massaro and Bovey for the Derby, and a bunch of people said this, and it was great. Yep. Family, friends, they never ask me, they never say happy birthday or wish me Merry Christmas, but you can set your clock to it that they will ask me what my Derby pick is once a year. They'll never say happy birthday or happy holidays, but they will always ask me,
really?
Who do you like in the Derby?
Huh.
And they all said it's annoying. Absolutely. That was like 6 people said that on Saturday. Avalanche and Clippers, 60-cent move on the series prices.
Huh.
Both losing 7. People couldn't get enough of that. We heard a lot of talk about Clippers in 5 when they won Game 3 by 30, but that's the Clippers.
Well, people also said that the Clippers Nuggets first-round series price was the most mispriced series number they've seen in years. Now, that could be fine. Maybe the number was way wrong, but it certainly did not play out that way.
Game 7 over, Rockets-Warriors, 201.5 up to 206. No shot.
On a Game 7.
Not even close. Absolutely, yep. Do you have that video in? You don't have it? Okay. I'll show it tomorrow. I got the worst hand pay of all time. Incredible. Bad beats, several of them. Dallas, Colorado, under 5.5, Game 7. 1-0 in the third. 2-1 late. Power play goal, empty net, 4-2 final. Game 7 under yesterday. 3-1 with 2 minutes left. Blues in 7, plus 950. Blues to win the series. Blues on futures. 3-1, less than 2 minutes. How do you lose that game?
Yeah. To me, the Blues-Jets total going over was worse than the Stars and the Avalanche.
Tigers, Angels, under Friday night. You tweeted this. 1-1 in the 9th.
Well.
It explodes. Detroit wins, erupts in the top. It goes over.
Yep.
Saturday, the A's, who are red hot, and Miller on the mound, gave up 6 in the 9th.
Guys.
They gave up 6 in the 9th and lost to a bad Miami team. And the Blue Jays also blew it in the 9th as well. Do you have it? How about this, Mitch? You've been playing video poker a long time. This guy is betting $1, 100 play, triple-double. It's $500 a push. He gets dealt 3 2s. Now, if he gets a 2, that's $800. If he gets a 2 and a kicker, that's $2,000. So he's showing the pay scale. But this is triple-double. This is your big boy.
Mm-hmm.
$500 a push. He gets dealt 3 2s. Well, I'll speed it up for you. 0 for 100.
Oh, I was going to say he got 1.
He didn't get 1. And here we go. Here's the proof. He has 100 play. He's dealt 3 2s. He can't get 1 4 of a kind, which results in the worst hand pay I've ever seen, which I think he wins $1,300 or something like that as we get to the
because
tippy top here.
It's 100 different 3s of a kind.
Can you believe it?
3 of a kinds.
Well, there's your ultimate bad beat story on video poker.
Not
that the
one?
guy goes 0 for 1. There it is. $1,300 he wins hand pay.
I honestly think I might retire.
Can you not get another
I would
2?
have to walk away oh my God.
Yep. Profit X offering the best odds all baseball season long. Profit X peer-to-peer sports exchange. Available in 40-plus states, the first of its kind in the U.S. You'll be able to make your picks against other groups of fans rather than the books. The exchanges guarantee the best odds on average by 10 to 20%. You can even request your own odds. Download Profit X today, code VEASAN. $200 in profit cash over your first month. Go get it now.
Would you be tempted to hold on? Because it looked like there was a 3 there as well. Would you hold the kicker? And just go for
triple
1?
Double. Bob Dancer says was there? Bob Dancer says you're supposed to do that.
I don't hate that idea.
Yeah.
Because the
I think
kicker
you're
is so much value. Yeah.
Well, you definitely do it with the aces because aces in a kicker pays the same as a Royale with cheese.
Right.
The other thing, too, look at the price on futures on Winnipeg. Winnipeg, even though they had the best record in the regular season and still have home ice and would have home ice the rest of the way, have the second worst odds to win the Stanley Cup. But then again, I got a goalie who can't stop anything.
Nobody's buying
and is
him.
in his own head, right?
Now they have the injuries are mounting up as well.
Yeah.
So that could be a thing. I honestly, man, I like betting like parlays on series prices, I think you might get a huge payday if you round robin some of these dogs. Every team on the road is favored against good teams, obviously, with home ice at this point of the season.
Yep.
I don't know. I was actually a little floored when I first saw the number on the Stars-Jets.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
$1.60. Yep. Now I know they're getting 2 key guys back, but
I understand
that is a big time. That's a big time penalty and a big time downgrade. Even though Winnipeg won the series.
Also, like I get the star power of Edmonton, right? That's obvious to everybody. VGK is a better team overall. They have more depth, and they have home ice. They won the Cup 2 years ago. I get it. Edmonton was there last year.
Was that the price 2 years ago? I don't remember. I think also Edmonton was a small favorite, but kind of like doing the same thing 2 years ago, and Vegas took them out in 6.
All right, the legend Bob Ryan next. Celtics Knicks. How much stock does he put into regular season dominance when they play again in the playoffs?
If you work in quality control at a candy factory, you know strict safety regulations come with the job. It's why you partner with Grainger. Grainger helps you find the high quality and compliant products your business needs to inspect, detect, and help correct issues. And the sweetest part is, everyone gets a product that's as safe to eat as it is delicious. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.